Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folarin. Hope you had a great weekend. Okay, let's look at the situation over in River State, and here I'm talking about the breaking news at the end of last week, where the political goings-on, have largely been knocked by the Supreme Court. 23, local government chairmen, recognized that have been recognized by the Supreme Court now, and has led to 26 members of the State House of Assembly. The whole thing is a mess, but we'll sort it out this morning because Barrister Tony Dania is here. He serves as a legal analyst, and he also keeps his eye on the political happenings. Thank you very much for coming on, Tony. Good morning. So, just before we go, we have a short report. Just to refresh everybody's memory as to where precisely we are. We'll take that, come straight back to studio. Stay with us, please.
Speaker Martin Amehule presided over plenary few hours after the latest court decision on the politics of Rivers State. It started with the leader of the House officially drawing the attention of the legislature to the development.
The purported local government election that was conducted in this state was also nullified by the Supreme Court. So, Mr. Speaker, today is a great day for democracy. Today is a joyous day for Rivers State and the 10th Assembly.
For the lawmakers, the Supreme Court has upheld the principle of separation of powers and respect for the Constitution.
The Supreme Court has ordered that the revenue accruing to the state should be withheld. Honorable members, this is a victory for democracy. It's a victory for the rule of law. And this goes to show that indeed we have three arms of government.
With the fate of local government officials now hanging in the balance, the Assembly is warning against looting of government property in the council offices.
As it stands today, those persons who were illegally in our councils as local government chairmen and councillors have been asked to vacate until proper elections are conducted or the needful is done. The Supreme Court has given their judgment today, and with that judgment, it clearly shows that we have been right all along.
Outside, supporters of the lawmakers were celebrating the outcome of what has been a long-drawn battle in court.
Whenever there are judgments like this, there is no way it will be favorable to everybody. But because we run a constitutional democracy, whether I like the judgment or not, we should be able to abide by it. That's my pride. Generally, we're happy. The state is happy. You can see that everybody here is happy because of the judgment.
The House of Assembly's message to the residents is to maintain peace as they await other Supreme Court judgments.
Okay, so there you have it. A succinct report on the happenings over in River State, or shall we say at the Supreme Court as it concerns the River State House of Assembly. Now, and Tony, I think we can add that, the news hit the papers this morning that Governor Fubura has said that in a broadcast to the people of River State that he will obey the Supreme Court judgment. Your comments?
He has no choice.
That's right.
He has no choice but to obey the comment. My first statement would be that be sober when you celebrate victory. This should be an opportunity to make up for all the lost period where the dividend of democracy has been elusive because of the deliberate acts of certain political actors. The three members of the House that are on the side of Fubura should make up with their colleagues. Fubura should humble himself now. I'm surprised and rather disappointed You know, this whole thing started with the fear, you know, that the members of the Rivers State House of Assembly were about to impeach the governor. And look at the action he took. He started a fire brigade approach. The police were seen to be, you know, taking sides. We're seen on television. The man raised up against police resistance and went to the State House. But that was a rather improper approach to it. I don't know. These political actors are causing serious issues for us in the judiciary, because they are all over the place, taking brazen, abusive legal steps with impunity. You know, when these judgments that have been confirmed by the Supreme Court were delivered, the judges were vilified. I do studio and I commended the judges because I read the judgment. And I predicted that the Supreme Court is likely to uphold this judgment. So it didn't come to me as a surprise. There is democracy. And then there is separation of powers. And then it will be, how can you govern a state? The executive is complete. We don't have any issue there. Judiciary is complete. We don't have any issue there. Where is the legislature? The State House of Assembly. So I want to commend the judgment of the Supreme Court. And I also want to tell you that look at all that has been happening in the judiciary when the current Chief Justice took over. She's not making noise, but we are seeing positive action. We are seeing speedy dispensation of justice, particularly at the Apex Court. And we have seen, in fact, I want to commend the Chief Justice. Because there are steps she has taken that you only see the positive reaction. You see the positive effect. Unannounced, they are just going on. If you have old cases at the Supreme Court, you have been given a window to see how you can quickly file necessary papers and take up these cases. And then if you have ordinary motions now at the Supreme Court, they are taken at the chambers. All these are positive changes that will help. And then, but I will also suggest that we investigate the appointment of judges generally. And then you will see that not less than 30 will be out. We have good judges. I have practiced before the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court severally. I've practiced even before the current CJN, when it was at the High Court and the Court of Appeal. I've practiced before some of these judges whose judgments were upheld by the Supreme Court. They are good judges. If you see litigants complaining about a judge, like the Fubara wing, we are complaining about the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court. Investigate. You'll be surprised to know that there have been attempts to compromise the judge, and the judge refused. Investigate. You see, most often it is always like that. And then instead of commending the judge, you see them vilifying the judge. The Supreme Court judgment is good for Rivers State. Rivers State should now start. And then those who feel they have gotten victory should be careful how they celebrate victory, so they won't go and cause a breakdown of law and order. The governor should be sober. I'm disappointed in the Attorney General of Rivers State. I'm disappointed in the team of SAS that have been engaged by the Rivers State governor. They who are all, with due respect, concentrating on their fee in millions, instead of giving realistic advice to the governor.
Okay, but when you said that, you know, the people should be careful, perhaps Governor Fubara has taken a leaf from that advice, but because it is reported that he ordered the 23 local government chairmen whose election has been voided now to quit, is the word used in the report, quit today after handing over to heads of personnel. You said he doesn't have a choice. But yes. So,
well, it is good he complies or obeys the order of the Supreme Court. He is a product of an order of court. I hope you know that. Fubara himself, if the other parties didn't obey the Supreme Court decision, Fubara would not be there as governor. So he has no choice than to obey, you know. But how do you account for all the funds that have been lost? the money being spent on these unnecessary and avoidable litigations, how do you save them?
You know,
how do you account for them?
You know, that's an important question because, as you know, the judgment has one of the two judgments passed by the Supreme Court has invalidated the state budget and ordered that the central bank and the Attorney General should stop releasing funds. So that is that. Now, that will happen from now on. Are you saying that accounting still needs to go back to that time?
The money that have been spent so far, naturally, the governor approves disbursement, the accountant general disburses. The money that the footballer have used generally for this litigation, is this state fund? Now, the legislature is part of the state. Is the state fighting itself? So, who sponsored the fund that were used by the parties? You can say that the governor is the chief security of the security officer of the state, is also in charge of the fund meant for the state. Has he been using from those funds to fight his battle or his personal fund?
Well, those are
you
questions.
See, I will advise. I advised here the last time I was here on this same river issue that the solution is political. If I was opportune to advise the governor, honestly, and he's ready to take the advice, this issue would have long been settled. Humble yourself. Call these people together. I am very sure if the governor have called the 29 members of the State of Assembly, let's meet, let's talk, they will not say no. Then call the 3 other ones he has been relying. How can you rely on 3 legislature in a house of 33 members? So call them together, see them, let's resolve this issue. Take off your phone, no recording. What is the problem? Let's sort it out. You solve it. Now you have denied your state. You think, I don't want to say preemptive statement, but you see, your activities go a long way in determining whether you'll be voted for a second term. And if you are interested in second term, you should not be creating enmity everywhere. Now, if you talk of 29 members of the House, you are talking of 29 constituencies. They represent constituencies. And we have 33 constituencies. You understand me? So you are making those who are representing 29 constituencies in the state not to be heard. That is most improper.
Well,
no,
in ordering the state...
23 chairmen.
Well, even I'm talking about the money now. In ordering all of that, look, no more money. It's been the state budget that he presented to 3 members has been invalidated. I wonder, well, you were talking about the need for humility by the governor, because the judgment had this court until the proper thing is done. In other words, until he represents to the House of Assembly as known to law.
See, Uncle Yeri, they are coming back to what I said. You know, we looked at a lot of factors and we make predictions which come, you know, almost on all fours to pass. This issue will still come back to political resolution. You know why? You cannot go to those 29 as it is, 29. You cannot go to the House right now to present or represent your budget as it is. You must take steps to see how you can resolve issues amicably so that when you come to the House, you'll be welcomed. The relationship has gone very bad now, such that if the governor goes to the House, because these 29 members have not been declared vacant. They are still there. The other 3 members, the same thing. They will look for a way to make up. And I will also want to advise the Speaker of the House not to see this as victory that will cause a further dichotomy between the legislature and the executive. Until recently, when we have the removal of Obasa in Lagos State, the legislature in Lagos State and the executive have enjoyed a very good relationship. You know, and then, sorry to digress, talking about Obasa, I don't know, he went to court and yet is using self-help to actualize what he has gone to court to seek. And the Commissioner of Police is saying that he gave him armed men because he wrote that his life is being threatened. Come on now. That is wrong. Yeah, what is wrong is wrong, but I will leave that.
Yes, because it's a separate story. But since you touched on it,
yes.
Is that really self-help in the sense that it is the police that helped him, not he helped him himself?
It is self-help because he went there. If you feel threatened, will they give you a truckload of armed policemen? Will you take them to the house? Then will you come with private security, non-armed bouncers, well-kitted? And it was alleged that thugs also came there. What is wrong is wrong,
okay.
No matter what.
I think that point has been made strongly. We leave it for the moment.
On the issue, back to Rivers State
but
issue,
whether the humility to represent that budget exists now, because the court seemed to have allowed that. That's the only way we're going to move forward. You shall do the right thing.
He has no choice. I think the steps he took immediately after the judgment of the Supreme Court is good, is commendable. He should sustain it by going the whole hog, but he cannot, realistically, Fubara cannot go to the house right now and present the budget. Okay. I can tell you that if he does that, what will happen is that same impeachment is running away from.
Okay. Well, just to say to our viewers that you, apart from watching us directly on the channel, you can also watch us on our YouTube channel because this is also going out live there. And in the meantime, Mr. George has called in. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling in.
Good morning to the guest.
Tony Dania.
Good morning, my brother.
Uncle Yori, the situation in Port Harcourt is so dramatic. I'm very disappointed by some of my fellow men, the way we behave and do things. Over this month, about 15 months that this controversy has been on, political solution was suggested to the extent that even the president came in.
Yeah.
These Ijaw leaders who are now coming out to ask for political solutions, they urge the governor not to accept anything like that, that it should go on. That the state does not belong to Wike. Political solution is not now the legal solution has come. They have turned around, they are turning around, including some lawyers who have virtually relocated to Port Harcourt to be making money out of the troubles, asking for political solutions. You were presented with a model for political solutions up to the stage of the president of this country. You violated it. You insisted on rigmaroing. And now the justice system has put you down. You are now asking for political solutions. Meanwhile, in the midst, Uncle Yori, this governor has committed impeachment offenses. You spent over ₦1 trillion in 2024 without approval of the legitimate assembly. You have not even rendered any account for that. You have presented the one for 2025 and claiming, the lawyers are telling him that one is passed. If you commit an offense, the guest should please answer me. If you commit an offense and you are caught after 10 years, does the time lag that you committed the offense nullify the offense itself? It doesn't. So that budget presentation he made and spent the people's money without accountability remains an offense before the assembly.
Okay.
Even in 2025, the governor, our guest there is saying that he should mend fences before going to the assembly. This is the same governor that went to demolish their assembly and did not believe in mending fences. How is he going to do that all of a sudden? Those who were urging him on, some of them have died and left the trouble for him now.
Okay.
Some people are talking about elders. There are no elders in that state. They all took sides.
Okay, Mr. George, thank you very much for calling in.
Yes, the last time I was here with you, Uncle Yeri, we were looking at the withdrawal of an appeal from the Supreme Court. And then the comment made by my learned, respected friend and senior, Femi Falana. And I said I disagreed respectfully with Femi Falana. The fact that they withdrew that appeal at the Supreme Court does not mean that there is no judgment. The judgment of the Court of Appeal remains subsisting, which is to the effect that the budget was improperly presented. So it remains that the budget of 2024 was improperly presented. So it can still be brought up at any time. I've stated it here that how will he account for all the funds he have used?
So there's no statute of limitations coming from anywhere?
There's no statute of limitation as regard that. You know, so statute of limitation most of the time is civil matters.
Yeah, because George brought it up. Say it was more like a rhetorical question, really. Say, because time has passed, does that mean that that situation, that untoward situation can now be glossed over?
It can be addressed.
Okay.
Officially. What's his name? Fubara. He has deliberately been misguided and misadvised, walked into trouble. He can pull out of this trouble if he humble himself further and make amendment politically.
Okay, politically.
With players and actors.
Because at this stage, let me ask you the question. The danger of impeachment, which it immediately came to the minds of some, and I think the thing was that matter was also touched upon or mentioned in the Supreme Court.
Yes, as an obiter. That
yes,
is
but the judge was saying that I'm not counseling that you go that way. But what happened? I mean, looking at it from a legal point of view, is an impeachable offense, even though he was saying, I'm not counseling go that way. In other words, he was also leaving the room for a possible political solution.
You see, when Fubara first suspected that he was going to be impeached, and he felt the hands of ex-governor Wike, now minister, was involved, his reaction was too drastic. There are other ways of going about it. You cannot be lawless because you are governor. The fact that some other actors, because this is not, I'm not talking in favor of Wike because I know he has had time to disobey court orders. And I've listened to his comment that commending the Supreme Court decision. Most of these political actors, they make choice when it comes to obedience of court orders. They obey the one that they feel is convenient for them to obey. The impunity must stop. The abuse of court process must stop. Are you aware that there was an application for the 29 seats to be declared vacant that was filed before Justice Peter Lifu of the Federal High Court, and he declined? That same application has been filed locally in Rivers State. These are the sort of things that with due respect to my colleagues who my senior and SANs, these are the sort of things they have been doing. Like the caller rightly said, making money.
Okay.
Can you make an approximation of what have been spent on litigation in respect of the various controversies in the River State? You will be shocked that it's in billions.
It is humongous. Ade in the UK has called in. Good morning, Ade. I wonder if the UK caller is still there. Okay, yes. Carry on.
Yes. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, you're good. We can hear you.
Okay. The senior advocate in the studio here, he has said...
Mr. Tony Dania. I never introduced him as the senior advocate. Oh.
No, I'm praying for him.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
So let's say this. He has said something very important. The first thing for the governor to do now is to go behind and invite those 27, make an equal settlement that appears in the house. That's the first thing the governor should do. So that's why I like this man. Of Nigeria. So, because that is the most important. Bury whatever happened. I'm not a fan of looking. FCC was looking for him. We can shielded this man from FCC until he became a governor. I mean, he didn't betray anybody that hates you. It's not fair. So he should now eat humble pie. He brought those people behind. They should talk behind the counters. When they appear in the House of Assembly, He's still saying that his team of lawyers, they are waiting for the copy. Advice for what? When you say you have obeyed the Supreme Court.
Okay.
See, that's the beginning of another problem. Because those one want to make money. Like somebody from Imo will come in here to campaign. He will leave the people in Imo and be campaigning for Rivers. We say, no. They are making money. So I agree with this man. God bless you, Mr. The lawyer.
Mr. Tony Dania,
the advocate of Nigeria.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for calling in, Ade in the UK.
You see, if you know what it takes to be positively smart, then you will know how those who are negatively smart will act. I can tell you that if Fubara continues to rely on the set of consultants, whether legal or political consultants, this is likely to be the advice. They will look for any other course of action that relates to the ongoing ones, but not exactly the same thing, and they will go and file at the trial at the lower court again. You see, this will cause further problem. And then we will go all again to the Fubara. Calm down. If you are listening to me.
He said he's waiting for certified true copy.
Why didn't he wait for certified true copy before he gave an order to the elected governor? When you have a court order saying, don't do this, you don't have an order that have set aside that court order. You went on to do it. And you are a product of court order. You ought to know. And that is why I'm angry with those. Sincerely, I'm not happy with those who are advising Fubara. I'm not. This is our farm law practice, litigation practice. That's where we feed from. Why are you trying to destroy it? Why are you trying to destroy it? And then I think it is not only when a judge misbehaves and a petition is written, or a lawyer misbehaves and a petition is written, that the appropriate authority should act. It's just like EFCC getting intelligence and acting, not waiting for any person to complain. They should be able to act. Are these lawyers above discipline? They are not.
Well, you know, clearly Governor Fubara is on the back foot now. Quoting him directly in this report, I assure you that upon the receipt of certified judgments, we shall study their ramifications and implement them without reservations to move the state forward. Not too sure what that means apart from just having to say something.
No, it means I, Fubara, I will obey the decision of the Supreme Court. That is the literal meaning. Now, as a political analyst and a lawyer, I want to see that as an hint that he may toe the line of political solution.
Yes, especially he says, I further direct the outgoing local government chairman to formally hand over the levers of power to the heads of personnel management by today. That is Monday, the 3rd of March.
The problem we have with this kind of governance at the local government level in Rivers State is that, can you say that those chairmen were presumed to be occupying their office validly before the decision of the Supreme Court? Can you make that presumption? It's like, God forbid, a coup. In those days, because they succeeded, they were legitimized. If they have failed, they will be arrested for treasonable felony. Now, how do you describe the local government chairman before this Supreme Court decision? If they were elected and their election is being contested, they are presumed to be validly elected until their election is overturned or the decision of the tribunal. Now, in this case, an order was subsisting. Don't do this thing.
Exactly.
There was no other order, even a conflicting order from the same court of equal jurisdiction. We don't have that. And you went on to do it. So can we say you were, you see, to avoid the likely legal consequences that will come out of all these, you know, complicated litigations, I advise all actors to take this victory soberly to meet and think of Rivers State first.
Well, which is what Fubara says he is also doing, but
Yes.
we'll come back to look at other aspects of that. Let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Once more, to just say, you can catch us, full program on our YouTube channel. Just go in there to This Morning on, our TVC This Morning, and you'll be able to follow the program. Okay, so stay with us, please. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Every weekday on Business Nigeria, we uncover the secrets of the financial world.
We analyze the stock market, shares, bonds, and the thrilling world of cryptocurrency.
Facts matter. Our team dives deep to separate fact from popular opinion.
We simplify complex government policies as it impacts your everyday life, helping you navigate the ever-changing financial landscape.
Watch Business Nigeria every weekday at 2 p.m. only on TVC News. First with breaking news.
Every major news story is with many perspectives and layered with different levels of impact.
Hello. What time did this happen? We will be right there.
At TVC News, we follow the big and major news, gathering the facts, witnessing the outcome.
I am here live at the aftermath of the approval of the new national minimum wage.
We are TV Station of the Year, not just for breaking news, but for being first, fair and accurate. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Okay, welcome back, and our guest is Tony Daniel, legal practitioner and political affairs analyst as well. Even current affairs too. Tony will put math if you call him. But look, we're looking at the situation in Rivers where the Supreme Court has caused a jolt, upturning what's been going on in Rivers, declaring a lot of it illegal. But the best voice in this, let's listen to the governor quoting him in a report that's out there this morning. A number of papers are carrying it, and this particular instance I'm reading from The Nation newspaper. Quote, although we disagree with the judgments, that's Governor Fubara speaking, although we disagree with the judgments, we are bound to obey the orders made therein as a law-abiding government. Since inception, we have conducted the affairs of government within the frameworks of our Constitution and due process and the rule of law. This interesting concluding paragraph that I'm going to quote from is that while we are not above mistakes because we are human, we believe that we have not, as a government, done anything deliberately to trample on the rule of law or the hallowed principle of constitutional governance. So when you look at those three short paragraphs, they're beginning to say that it looks like the man, is going to go the route of the political solution if people are going to be charitable and enable that.
Yes, Uncle Yari, whenever there is a judgment, it depends on the court that gave the judgment. If the judgment is from the High Court, every judgment, some parties will be happy, some will feel bad. Now, if it is a judgment of the High Court, the aggrieved party have a chance to go to the Court of Appeal to test if that judgment can be set aside. And even at the Court of Appeal, if he's not still satisfied, he has the chance of still going further to the Supreme Court to test his own side of the case. And then, but when the matter gets to the Supreme Court, that's the end.
That's the last bus stop.
You can't take it beyond that. So Fubara has the personal right to either agree or disagree with the judgment of the Supreme Court. But like he rightly said, he has no choice than to obey the judgment or decision of the Supreme Court. Having said that, we are beginning to see the body language. He cannot come up boldly to say, I went wrong. He has said in a very polite way that nobody's above mistakes, which means...
But he says that he has conducted the affairs of government within the framework of our constitution, due process, and rule of law.
That is why I said I'm not happy with the Attorney General of Rivers State. If you want to take it up with me, you can take it up with me. I'm not happy with you.
That statement would not have been made without the knowledge of the Attorney General.
Of course, of course. Why under is it that he gave advice? Well, he can come out to say, I gave advice and the man refused to take my advice. Then if I was in his position, I would resign and say, look, I gave advice, he refused to take my advice. Right now, he will be vindicated. But he has to take a lot of the blames. You understand me? So
well, he's saying that he's not like a human. He said, now I'm hearing I was a bit surprised to hear that aspect, that while we are not above mistakes because we are humans.
So the mistake has affected a lot of things in Rivers State. The mistake has caused avoidable loss of billions that would have been used for a lot of other laudable projects in the state. The mistake has deprived Nigerian citizens in Rivers State from enjoying the dividend of democracy within the past about 1.5 years now. So these mistakes, was it possible to have avoided them? The answer is yes.
But now that you say the answer is yes, and a lot of people will agree, because different state governments have their councils, special councils. In Rivers, they have what they refer to as the Rivers Elders Council, Rivers State Elders Council. And what they have been doing now is to call on Fubara and the lawmakers, reminding and referring to them as members of one political family. Your comments on that? Because I believe I heard earlier this morning that there are no elders in that place.
Well, it is because the Yoruba saying, Agbakinwa noja. Well, you see, I disagree with the caller, Mr. George. There are elders in Rivers State. Now, the elders will now take it beyond the position they have taken it. The elders in the western part of Nigeria took up an issue and resolved it with the traditional rulers. What they should do now is the same thing. Let Rivers State elders take this matter up now. It will be tough, but they can still resolve it. They should think of Rivers State first, like I said before. You know, this issue of fund that will be withheld based on the decision of the Supreme Court will definitely speed up the amicable resolution of this issue.
Okay.
It will speed it up because you can't act with, you can't do anything without money.
Yes, and the courts have said that until the right thing is done. In other words, presenting to 3 people is not the right thing. So until the right thing is done, which is effectively go and represent. This is where a lot of humility is called for. And the man is in one breath saying that I don't agree with this decision, and at the same time he needs a way out. And the River State Elders Council are saying that, well, now it is now for Governor Fubara and the Amaefule-led members of the House of Assembly to come together and work for the salvation of the state and the good governance of the state. That's the direction that the River State Elders Council seems to want to take this. There's nothing stopping them, right? There's nothing in their way if they can take this route and persuade. I think a call is coming in. Mazi Okoroafo, good morning to you, sir.
The popular Mazi.
Good morning, Sayeri. Good morning, I guess. Sayeri, Port Harcourt judgment is what the judiciary system is just coming to tell us that we have the highest court in this country. So not the whole world, Supreme Court. My advice to Rivers State government: 1, they should obey the court order. 2, the House of Assembly should allow the lives of the not to turn the Supreme Court order into another situation whereby they will think of because we are now back, let's go and impeach him, impeach the governor. They should bear in mind, one, any confusion they will bring in the state, one, two things will happen, whether they like it or not. The faction that belongs to Kubra and the faction that belongs to Ahmed, they will turn the state into commotion and confusion. I said, well, the federal government has no option. If they bring confusion into the state, to declare state of emergency. We are not praying for that. But they should go back to Plateau and ask them how was the enjoyment of a state of emergency that time. So how to assemble, how to take it calmly. Do not impeach the young man. Allow the governor should know that agency that arrange that this is how we are going to run her. You have no other state. If you happen to do something abracadabra to make investors to leave River State, all of you will suffer. No matter how much you get from federal government to the state land, then investors, you are creating unemployment, you are creating a lot of criminality, you are creating a lot of vices. People and the Greeks, everybody will start revolting. And when you start, even you, who is a long, you will not sit there in your house, you will not sit well. People will be jumping from one room to another, to one house to another. That means that is the problem you have for. So, don't shift the goalpost, don't remove the ladder. If you dare and do that one, look, you guys are young, none of you are top to 45 there. All of you that please, you are between 30 and 40. None of you are not 50 or 40. So, young men, think positively, think future, think about the young ones behind you. Think about how you did high school in the University of Science and Technology in those days, not now, the University. We don't know much about the place. So, whether indigenous or non-indigenous, whether from a waterline area or upperline area, look, the state.
All right, thank you very much, Mazi Okorafor from Arochukwu. So that's the import of his saying, whether indigenous of the state or not, we schooled there. We are part of the system there. And, well, he's now saying that, look, he's counseling, don't go the route of impeachment, because they certainly have the numbers now. If Mayole were to go that way, they certainly have the numbers now. But most people seem to be saying that they just hope that that's not where their decision will take them, that there are alternative routes.
They have advised while here on this particular program that the speaker should be sober while celebrating victory, and that he should cooperate with Fubara to move the state forward, and that they should think of the state first. I've said all that here.
When you say cooperate, that is to say, it's a psychological thing, because they have been wronged.
Yes.
They have been wronged.
Yes.
In the light of the law, the state has been wronged.
Yes.
Now, the same law is now saying that you people, we deem that you are the people properly in charge.
Like Mazi said, there's always consequences for any decision, you know, and if you take a political decision, there will be consequences. You take legal decision, there will be consequences. But if you think of the state first, you can allow certain things to lie.
Okay.
You can, you know, forgive each other because you are thinking of the state. But if you continue to think of yourself, think of your ego, think of your pocket, you know, then the state will suffer for it.
And when you get to the matter of your pocket there, you people from the respected legal profession, you know the law. You, nevertheless, I think that's the commercial aspect. Lawyers, generally speaking, even though nobody can say definitely, but generally speaking, they know the right and the left side of the law. But when you de-emphasize the right side of the law, I don't know. There are those who have said that lawyers are part of our problem in Nigeria.
Yes, Uncle Yeri. There are consequences, like I say, for whatever. Even under the Legal Practitioner Act, if you deliberately give a wrong legal advice and encourage a legal action that you know legally is improper, there are consequences. That is like one aspect of the criminal law called bigamy. I've never seen, you know, we have what we call bigamy. Has any person been ever arrested for bigamy? The thing is just there. So the legal practitioner made provision for this, but I don't know if they have been implemented in any way at any time. So, but like that's why I suggested, you know, from program like this, the authorities will, learned a lot of things, and that's why I said the appropriate authorities should no longer wait for report to be made. I gave an example with EFCC, not waiting for petition where there are intelligence reports that will help them break through in a case. So don't wait to receive report. If you get to know, troubleshoot and find out if any judge has done something wrong, has conducted himself in a manner unbecoming of a judge. If a lawyer has misbehaved, don't wait until that lawyer, there's a petition. You can take such issues up directly and address it. I want to, advise the current CJN to think about this too if he's listening to this program. And then back to Rivers State, we don't want to see lawlessness. We don't want to see a continuation of breakdown of law and order. When Wike said, to the best of his knowledge, Fubara said, to the best of his knowledge, he has complied with extant laws and rules. I don't know. And has been
constitutional.
Yes, I don't know how constitutionally correct that you will work with 3 members of the legislature. You have run a governance in a democracy without the legislature.
Even though Wike is not necessarily part of this, Wike has observed that how can you have a government without an assembly? Because that must be the view that Wike is taking, that, look, 3 men, how can, and we allow this to continue?
If Wike was in the shoes of Fubara, I can tell you to some extent that he will take action to prevent his impeachment, but not the way Fubara did it. Don't forget he has experience when it comes to...
Wike is also a lawyer, isn't he?
He's a lawyer too. When it comes to taking... But he's not in practice.
No, but still.
When it comes to taking radical step to prevent injury to himself, he's an expert when it comes to that. But I don't think he would have taken the kind of step Fubara took. Fubara was not properly advised on this issue.
As I said earlier, and at the danger of repeating myself, Governor Fubara has said that he's a human being. We are human, and by that, he's used the word mistake. If you look at it properly, that is probably the best he can do towards saying that we made a mistake here. He hasn't directly put it in that way, but in using that, what is that thing now? It's saying that only God is perfect. He's admitting that a mistake was made. Maybe this will be enough for people to say that, if that is the case, now you're talking. Sit down, let's talk. So there are going to have to be negotiations again.
Well, when you receive advice from people on issue, you should be able to filter the advice and advise yourself. For instance, if the advice is kill, killing is illegal.
Of course.
It's the most heinous crime. You will consider other alternatives. So if Fubara has been advised on most of the steps he took, he ought to have advised himself as at that time when he was taking those steps and those actions. I sympathize with him, but I am not happy with him. That doesn't mean that I'm happy with Wike. No. But the most important thing...
But Wike is the minister of the Federal Capital Territory. He doesn't have anything to do with that.
No, he has. Politically, of course, naturally, you have to know he has. He has answered it, at least.
Because he has said that. It's not about Wike. I think you might have heard him. This is not about Wike.
What is the root cause of this whole thing? Fubara was to be impeached. He felt that was wrong. He felt it was because he fell out with Wike, his godfather, politically. And he started taking action. That's the beginning. So, but I mean, he engaged a team of senior advocates of Nigeria. He has his Attorney General there. And with due respect, he was misguided. He was wrongfully advised. He told the line of those advice, playing against law and being unrealistic in his approach before now to how these issues will be resolved. You can confirm that I've talked about this issue at your station. This is the 4th time.
Okay. Yeah.
And each time I've said, look, when the crisis was brewing, I was here. I said, look at the political solution to this issue. I'm a lawyer now.
But right next to all that you say, the governor himself has said, to the best of his knowledge, from inception, they have been doing things in accord with the Constitution.
The Constitution of Nigeria presumes somebody that you have caught stealing to be innocent until he's proven guilty at the law court. The person will think what he's doing is right until it is proved that what you have done is contrary to law. What is conspicuously clear is that you cannot run the legislature or the legislative arm of your government with 3 out of 33 persons. You cannot do that, and you come and say it's illegal, and you have a team of SANs following you. No, come on. So that is wrong. He cannot say that he has complied with the Constitution generally. I don't want to make a case for him, but we are free to comment now because Supreme Court has sealed it off. So we can either commend the judgment of the Supreme Court. You can also give what we call fair criticism if you have the basis to do that.
So now we know exactly what the situation is in Rivers State. In the eyes of the law, it was an illegality in operation, and no less a court than the Supreme Court has so pronounced. And as you pointed out, you can't go anywhere after the Supreme Court.
Yes.
So the illegality now has to stop. There's no choice.
Yes.
There's hardly, the illegality has to stop. You find a way to maneuver, to agree, to a political solution, whatever you want to call it, but the illegality in the eyes of the law that Rivers State is an example of, according to the Supreme Court, cannot continue beyond today. And the governor himself has asked all those people to to quit. Let me just use this word, to quit. In other words,
originally, and I think up till date, Rivers State is a PDP state. The Minister for FCT and the Governor of Rivers State, Fubara, members of PDP. Now, what parties brought in those purportedly elected chairmen?
I think, well, we have
the man said he's playing,
yes,
he's acting within the Constitution. So what party brought them to power?
We don't need to go back again now.
How were
the Supreme Court has drawn a line under legality.
So that's why I said we need to leave most of these things and then toe the line of the interest of the state first.
Indeed.
That is the solution. That's the way to go.
That's what the Council of Elders
the Council of Elders should live up. The Council of Elders ought to know that we have 33 constituencies in Rivers State. Out of those 33 constituencies, 29 are being deprived from being represented at the legislative arm.
No, it's not going to apply. But this has a stop has been put
to
this.
Now,
we're going to have to leave it here.
The first thing that the council should do is to reconcile the legislation, have a meeting with the speaker, the governor, and some other prominent persons.
Okay, that's the place to leave.
Agree first on the present. We have run out of time.
We've completely run out. It always happens to us. I'm so sorry. But I want to thank you very much, Tony.
Thank you,
for
sir.
eating into your schedule to come in and help us look at this particular decision of the Supreme Court. Okay, so we're going to have to leave it there. That's our program today. Do please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folare. Bye-bye for now.